This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Nearly 24 people were arrested in the first day of the federal government's temporary takeover of the Washington, D.C. Police Department. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Ukraine is rejecting any peace deal with Russia that would involve ceding land to Moscow. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The shooter who attacked CDC headquarters in Atlanta last week was protesting coronavirus vaccines. I'm Ed Donahue.
On Wall Street, the S&P 500 index and the NASDAQ each open at fresh record highs this morning. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Ford is investing nearly $2 billion in a Kentucky assembly plant to make electric vehicles. I'm Haya Panjwani.
A Hawaii real estate investor and broker are suing baseball star Shohei Ohtani. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
All ahead on America in the Morning. The White House announces the arrest of nearly 24 people on the first day of the Trump administration's emergency safety declaration that federalized Washington, D.C.'s police force. In Washington, our John Stolnis.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announcing about 850 federal law enforcement officials were deployed in the nation's capital Monday night into Tuesday.
These arrests consisted of homicide, firearms offenses, possession with intent to distribute narcotics, fare evasion, lewd acts, stalking, possession of a high-capacity magazine, fleeing to elude in a vehicle.
The current plan calls for the temporary takeover of the D.C. Metro Police Department by the Justice Department, and that it will last for just 30 days. But Leavitt acknowledged they will reassess and reevaluate further at the end of that time.
Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety, and endangers law-abiding Americans.
Both the House and Senate would need to approve any extension. Meanwhile, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says police in her city will try to take advantage of the extra help.
What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have.
House Oversight Chair James Comer announced plans to haul Bowser and other city leaders for a Capitol Hill hearing next month, just as the 30-day expiration date is set to expire. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin says he will introduce legislation that would end Trump's takeover of the police force immediately. Republicans say they plan to push D.C. security-related bills when they return from recess. Democrats in the Senate would likely filibuster. As for the here and now, D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith maintains they will have a good working relationship with federal law enforcement.
And we have been working collaboratively. I think this is going to be a good effort. It's going to be an effort that's supported by both teams, the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as our federal partners.
A recent DOJ report found violent crime was down 35% since 2023 and reached a 30-year low last year. John Stolnis, Washington.
We're about 48 hours away at this point from the planned one-on-one meeting in Alaska between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, talks aimed at setting the stage to end the war in Ukraine. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports President Trump is pushing Ukraine to swap some land with Russia as part of a deal to end the war, a request that Ukraine's leadership is totally against.
This administration has really used every lever, has taken every measure to achieve peace through a diplomatic solution. And I think the President of the United States getting in the room with the President of Russia, sitting face to face rather than speaking over the telephone, will give this president the best indication of how to end this war and where this is headed.
There are lingering questions about the schedule and whether Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky may get a last-minute invite, and about why it's in Alaska.
The goal of this meeting for the president is to walk away with a better understanding of how we can end this war. And the president said at this podium when he joined all of you in the room that he hopes in the future there can be a trilateral meeting with these three leaders to finally bring this conflict to an end.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says there were lots of potential hosts.
Alaska is a state within the United States of America, so the president is very honored and looks forward to hosting President Putin on on American soil.
The president twice said something else.
We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal.
Asked if that was just a verbal flub.
Perhaps there are plans in the future to travel to Russia.
Ukraine is rejecting any peace deal with Russia that would involve ceding land to Moscow. For starters, any such agreement would not only be deeply unpopular in Ukraine, it would be illegal under its constitution. Vladimir Zelensky's flat ruled out swapping land, but at the White House,
There'll be some land swapping.
President Trump says he knows that through Russia and conversations with others.
For the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff.
That's clearly a non-starter for a large number of reasons.
Security analyst Nigel Gould-Davies says Vladimir Putin's actual ambition is to subordinate Ukraine to Russian dominance.
And that in turn would create the opportunity geographically, but also in terms of Ukraine's resources, to threaten the rest of Europe.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Limited time only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. Shooting at CDC headquarters. We'll have an update next. America in the Morning. Back after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. Canadian wildfires continue to affect areas of our nation. With today's forecast, here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
For the most part, today's highest risk for effects stemming from the continued issue of smoke from wildfires in Canada will cover a somewhat smaller zone than in some recent days and weeks, with a general area from northern Iowa and Illinois through mainly eastern parts of the Dakotas and eastward from there to Minnesota and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in particular, most likely to end up with at least some air quality concerns, along with hazy conditions. This should result in at least some extra colorful sunrises and sunsets, even in places that don't quite get the worst of the smoke later today. It's looking like wet weather will return to more of the northeast, where heat and humidity remain in place well in advance of a cold front. For today, that heat, humidity, and proximity to another disturbance in the atmosphere will pop at least some spotty thunderstorms by late today from interior Maine through all but coastal New England, New York, and New Jersey, and westward to the Detroit area, extending southward from there into the southern states, including mainly eastern Arkansas and eastern Texas as well. Storms should be more numerous from Kentucky into northern Mississippi and also over western Florida and Georgia, where we'll have to watch for the potential for downpours. However, storms have the highest chance of turning severe over much of North Carolina and far southern Virginia, perhaps bringing hail and strong winds. Storms also develop over the Dakotas today, with another area facing the risk for severe weather setting up from South Dakota into north central Nebraska, again with the risk for both hail and damaging winds. Much of the West does have a dry Wednesday in store instead. In Las Vegas, expect more heat and sunshine today with a high of 111. For Huntsville, Alabama, watch for showers and thunderstorms with a high of 86. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Listen on your preferred platform. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Georgia authorities held a news conference to update the situation regarding the shooting at the CDC headquarters. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports that more details were released about the shooter who stole his father's weapons used in the deadly rampage.
Authorities say the shooter who attacked CDC headquarters in Atlanta last week was protesting coronavirus vaccines.
Over 500 shell casings have been recovered from the crime scene area. A total of 5 firearms, along with other evidence, has been recovered from the scene and will be submitted for further forensic testing. Close to 200 rounds impacted 6 of the CDC buildings.
Chris Hosey with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation says Patrick White fired more than 180 shots with a long gun and broke into a locked safe to get his father's weapons. A police officer was killed.
The shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Hosey says White wanted to send a message.
A search warrant executed at the residence of the shooter revealed written documentation that expressed the shooter's discontent with the COVID-19 vaccinations.
Audio from WSB. The FBI's Paul Brown was asked about threats based on misinformation regarding the CDC and its vaccine work.
We've not seen an uptick, although any rhetoric that suggests or leads to violence is something we take very seriously.
White had no known criminal history. I'm Ed Donahue.
Mexico has agreed to hand over 26 top drug cartel leaders to the United States in a deal made with the Trump administration. Included in the handover are people who have ties to the Sinaloa cartel, along with Abigail Gonzalez Valencia, a reputed leader of one cartel, and Roberto Salazar, wanted in connection to the 2008 killing of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy. The transfers are a milestone for the Trump administration, which made dismantling dangerous drug cartels a key Justice Department priority. The cartel figures were put on planes to the U.S. after the Justice Department agreed not to seek the death penalty against any of the defendants or cartel leaders. Fresh numbers on consumer prices leads to an uptick in the markets. Your business report is next on America in the Morning. Back after these messages. What's the price tag for Google's Chrome browser? There's been a bid made. CNBC's Jessica Ettinger has a look at that and more.
Wall Street opens this morning after a record-setting day for stocks. The S&P 500 index and the NASDAQ each open at new record highs this morning. Inflation came in better than expected amid tariff worries, and investors are hopeful this could give the Fed the green light to cut interest rates. The Dow popped up 480 points yesterday. Consumer prices rose last month at a 2.7% annual rate. That's higher than the Fed's target of 2%, but it wasn't an aggressive increase, even with tariffs starting to hit American businesses trying to bring in goods from other countries.
Places where there are tariffs, there are price increases. Furniture and bedding up 0.9%. Household furnishings up 0.7% after being up 1%. These are things that used to be up 1% in a year. So they are there, but what you have an offset in energy. That's been helpful.
CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman. What did consumers pay more for last month?
Rent, for instance, owner's equivalent rental prices higher. Airfare saw a big jump. I mentioned dental care. That was like a record monthly surge for dental care. Not sure what's going on there. Auto insurance, medical care. Could they be cause for concern for the Fed? Absolutely. That we're not seeing disinflation.
You go headline 2.3, 2.4, 2.7, 2.7. That is not working your way back to target.
CNBC's Carl Quintanilla and Sarah Eisen. Airline stocks popped yesterday on higher airfares last month that were noted in the CPI report. And word that Spirit Airlines needs cash to survive. That news helped the shares of its rivals.
Frontier up 30% today. 30%. Why? Because Spirit Airlines issued a going concern warning. If Spirit goes under, which is a possibility, you could see Frontier pick up greater market share. Sun Country, Allegiant, JetBlue, they also have had a nice day as well.
CNBC's Phil LeBeau. Perplexity offering to buy Google's Chrome browser for $34.5 billion.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that AI startup Perplexity is making a surprise $34.5 billion offer to buy Google's Chrome browser. Now, this unsolicited bid comes as a federal judge is weighing right now whether to force Google to sell Chrome to loosen its grip on web search after that ruling last year that the company illegally monopolized the market.
CNBC's Mackenzie Sagalos. KFC bringing back potato wedges after 5 years next week, along with the return of hot and spicy wings. On today's watch list, we get earnings from Cisco and from the chain Red Robin. And the Little League World Series begins today in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Ford goes all in on electric vehicles when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Ford is putting the pedal to the metal, making a massive investment in electric vehicles that will be made in America. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
Ford is investing nearly $2 billion in a Kentucky assembly plant to make electric vehicles. The automaker says the goal is to produce EVs that are more affordable, profitable to make, and outcompete rival models. Ford's top executive unveiled the new EV strategy at the company's Louisville assembly plant. The factory will be revamped to manufacture electric vehicles after producing gas-powered vehicles for decades. Ford says the first EV vehicle to roll off the assembly line will be a mid-size four-door electric truck that's set to debut in 2027.
This new truck, based on this universal platform, are going to be more spacious inside than the RAV4, the best-selling car in the United States. But it will have a frunk, and it will have a whole pickup truck bed behind it.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
Baseball's Shohei Ohtani continues to hit home runs, but the major leaguer and his agent are also facing a major lawsuit over a construction project in Hawaii. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
A Hawaii real estate investor and broker are suing baseball star Shohei Ohtani. They claim the Los Angeles Dodgers two-way player and his agent got them fired from a $240 million luxury housing development on the Big Island's coveted Hapuna Coast that they brought him in to endorse. According to the lawsuit filed in Hawaii Circuit Court, Ohtani's agent Nez Balelo increasingly demanded concessions before ultimately demanding that their business partner drop them from the deal. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour, locals react to the National Guard in the nation's capital. An investigation underway into what led to the Pittsburgh steel plant explosion, and a glacier threatening to cause major flooding in Alaska.
Reacting to never-before-seen footage in the Robb Elementary School massacre, I'm Clayton Neville.
Polls show Zohran Mamdani well ahead in the New York City mayoral race. I'm Sue Aller.
U.S. inflation remained unchanged in July. I'm Jennifer King.
Perplexity AI offers to buy Google Chrome. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Taylor Swift is making headlines again with a new album coming very soon. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Welcome back on this Wednesday. You're with America in the Morning, and here's the national weather forecast from AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Two separate areas have been identified by AccuWeather severe weather experts as the most likely places where thunderstorms developing later today have the potential to become severe. One of these areas is centered around South Dakota and extends into northern Nebraska as well, where storms from this afternoon into tonight may bring hail and damaging winds of at least 60 to 70 miles per hour, along with downpours that may bring flooding. However, generally less intense thunderstorms should extend northward from there through North Dakota into Canada. Farther to the south and east, a zone from North Carolina into southern Virginia carries a similar severe thunderstorm risk into this afternoon and evening, with gusts to 55 to 65 miles per hour and hail as the main threats. Most areas west of the plains look to be dry today, but at least some monsoon thunderstorms are expected to develop this afternoon around parts of the Four Corners states, especially Colorado, New Mexico, and eastern Arizona. There may be a very spotty shower in a few spots of western Washington, along with a stray thunderstorm in the high terrain of central California and into western Nevada, but many locations do stay rain-free. Dry conditions are also mainly in store over the upper Midwest and areas of the plains near the Canadian border, where a zone from eastern North Dakota into Iowa, Wisconsin, and northern lower Michigan face reduced air quality due to Canadian wildfire smoke. The east will be the most active part of the country in terms of precipitation, well ahead of a cold front that will shove its way through the eastern Great Lakes and Midwest, with places from southern Missouri to the Virginia coast and southward through East Texas and all of the southeast in line for at least the chance of a thunderstorm or two. The coast may be spared from storms from Maryland into Maine, but interior sections as far west as Indiana may also have thunderstorms today. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Listen on your favorite platform when you search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Members of the National Guard deployed on the streets of the nation's capital followed agents of the FBI taking to the streets Monday, with some arrests and gun confiscation being reported. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports as the military and DOJ work to follow President Trump's order to cut down crime and remove homeless off the streets, there's uncertainty over how long federal forces will be in charge of D.C.'s police force, and skepticism from some D.C. residents as to if the plan will work.
I've been homeless before, so I know how it is when it comes to that. So it's like, I have empathy for them, so I don't think removing them is going to solve anything.
I feel like there's been an increase of almost racial profiling and stuff, so it's I guess it's concerning for, I think, individuals who, I guess, are just worried about how they might be perceived while they're going about their, day-to-day life.
I think Trump's trying to help people, some people, I think, but as far as he trying to get homeless out of the city, though, that ain't gonna work.
A day after President Trump ordered federal forces to take over Washington, D.C.'s police department, it's unclear how long the surge will last. The law allows the president to control the department for a month.
We will reevaluate and reassess and make further decisions after this 30-day period is up. But within these 30 days, our entire focus is making sure that this is the most efficient operation possible.
The White House would need congressional approval to extend that takeover. For now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the focus is on making the operation efficient.
A total of 6 illegal handguns were seized off of District of Columbia streets as part of last night's effort. This is only the beginning. Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety, and endangers law-abiding Americans.
Yesterday, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser called the president's action unsettling. Today, she met with Attorney General Pam Bondi and says the priority is making the most of it.
What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have. How we got here or what we think about the circumstances. Right now, we have more police, and we want to make sure we're using them.
Meantime, some of the 800 National Guard members the president's deployed here have started reporting for duty. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
New documents unveiled this week shed more light on the gunman and the police response in the Uvalde Elementary School massacre. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Hours of never-before-seen footage released this week by authorities in Uvalde from the day of the massacre at Robb Elementary School in 2022. The move prompted by a lawsuit by a number of media outlets pushing for rightful access. The footage reveals more disturbing moments.
This is Arizona with the school district police. Can you please put your firearms down?
It was longer than an hour before police killed the shooter as they looked for a key to unlock a door that turns out was never locked.
These are innocent children, sir. Please talk to me. Please talk to me, sir.
The video and records include moments before the massacre when the gunman shot his grandmother.
Salvador Ramos. Apparently he just shot his grandmother.
Family members heard calling for police to kill the shooter.
Get him! Help us, help us.
He's doing it because his mom
The records released include text messages, personnel files, and student records tied to Salvador Ramos. Documents show that he had some behavior issues, including hitting other kids and using bad language. He also failed state tests and had a lot of absences. Friends and family of the victim spoke with Fox 26 TV.
I don't think there's anything in those records that's going to be valuable to fact-finding. I think most of the information, and we already know what happened,
While the records bring frustration and heartache back to the forefront for victims' families, some say the release takes them another step toward closure. I'm Clayton Neville.
If the race for New York City mayor were held today, Zohran Mamdani would win by a landslide. Correspondent Sue Aller reports from New York on the latest polling, which has the 33-year-old self-described Democratic Socialist ahead of his nearest rival by almost 20 points.
The race for mayor is heating up in New York City, with a new Siena College poll showing Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani holding a 19% lead over former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Meghani has a support of 44% of registered city voters compared to Cuomo's 25%, Republican Curtis Sliwa's 12%, and incumbent Mayor Eric Adams' 7%. Adams, however, appears unfazed by the poll.
I have to get out there and sell. This is what I'm going to do for you in the next 4 years.
Political consultant Hank Scheinkoff spoke to ABC7 Eyewitness News and says only 317 people participated in the poll, which has a nearly 7% margin of error.
And it's not a great day for Meghani. Why? Because the Democrat candidate should be doing much, much better on any kind of poll.
Attacks between candidates seem to be ramping up. Here's Curtis Sliwa on CNBC.
If Eric Adams had been a halfway decent mayor, do you think you would even know who Zoran Meghani was?
Andrew Cuomo is focusing on Meghani's rent-stabilized apartment, and Meghani released a video targeting Cuomo.
The New York Times uncovered that Cuomo had worked with his longtime friend Andrew Farkas on a luxury marina project in Puerto Rico. Farkas' previous partner on luxury marinas in the Caribbean, Jeffrey Epstein.
As for the governor's race, the poll shows Governor Kathy Hochul leading Republican Elise Stefanik 45% to 31%. In New York, I'm Sue Aller.
When we return on America in the Morning, deal of the century, an offer to buy Google's Chrome browser after these messages. A key economic gauge rises, with economists pointing the finger of blame at tariffs. However, as correspondent Jennifer King reports, U.S. inflation overall was better than expected.
U.S. inflation remained unchanged in July, remaining at a stubborn 2.7%, according to the latest government report. Core prices, excluding food and energy, rose 3.1%, up from June and the highest in 5 months. Tariffs appear to be raising the cost of some imported items, including shoes, clothing, and furniture, but the figures suggest some of that impact is being offset by cheaper gas and slowing rent increases. Economists at Goldman Sachs estimate that U.S. companies have absorbed 64% of the tariff increases, but that by this fall, consumers will pay about 67%.
And what we're waiting for to reduce rates is to understand what will happen with really the tariff inflation. And there's a lot of uncertainty about that.
Tuesday's data arrives as President Trump announces E.J. Antony, an economist at the Heritage Foundation, as his nominee for the new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics that collects and publishes jobs and inflation data. Trump fired the former commissioner earlier this month, blaming her for a weaker than expected jobs report. I'm Jennifer King.
Sergeant Cornelius Radford, the suspect accused of shooting at fellow Fort Stewart soldiers last week, has been charged with a number of crimes, including attempted premeditated murder. 5 soldiers were wounded when the active duty sergeant opened fire on his co-workers at the Army base in Georgia before being stopped by fellow members of the military. One of the 5 people shot was described by the Army as an intimate partner of Radford. The charges were issued against Radford as he made his first appearance in a military courtroom at Fort Stewart. He'll be transferred to the Brig at Joint Base Charleston in South Carolina to remain in pretrial confinement. America in the Morning continues. We're learning more about what led to an explosion that rocked a steel plant outside Pittsburgh on Monday that led to the deaths of 2 workers. Details from correspondent Ben Thomas.
U.S. Steel says workers at its Clairton plant south of Pittsburgh were heating coal and preparing for routine maintenance Monday morning when an explosion rocked the plant. 2 workers were killed and more than 10 others injured, including one who was trapped in the rubble for hours. But exactly what caused the blast remains under investigation. Governor Josh Shapiro.
It is dangerous work that they do. It shouldn't be, and we owe them an answer for what happened. We owe them the answers to their questions, and we owe them to never forget the sacrifices that occurred here.
U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt says the company is working closely with local, state, and federal authorities.
We're not going to speculate. We're going to let the people do their work and support them in that important job. We will share as much as we can, as soon as we can, and we will take every step necessary to keep our people safe.
Sound courtesy WTAE. I'm Ben Thomas.
A disaster has been declared in Alaska in what's being called an imminent threat of catastrophic flooding. A volume of water in the Mendenhall Glacier is expected to release, which could flood entire neighborhoods in the Mendenhall Valley near Juneau. The National Weather Service reports that the volume of water expected to flow is larger than last year's flood that caused widespread damage to homes, infrastructure, and utilities. This year's flooding is expected to crest at near record levels over 16 feet. Shifting gears, Perplexity AI, backed by Jeff Bezos at Amazon, offers a huge cash bid to buy the Chrome browser from Google, which has not been put up for sale yet. Our Chuck Palm has details of a potential purchase in today's Tech Report.
AI startup company Perplexity just threw a $34.5 billion all-cash offer in a Hail Mary bid to buy Google's Chrome browser, which is nearly double their own valuation of $18 billion. Perplexity, backed by Amazon's Jeff Bezos, is riding high with 3.5 billion users and wants to own Google's Chrome. Currently, Chrome has 2/3 of the global browser market and their data goldmine feeding the Google ad empire. But Google is under fire from a U.S. antitrust case that could force the sale. Alphabet, Google's parent, is fighting tooth and nail to keep Chrome, calling its sale harmful. Perplexity's CEO, Aravind Srinivas, is playing hardball and betting on Chrome's 3.45 billion users to boost their AI search game. How would AI help the browser game? Think smarter browsing with less tracking and a shot at breaking Google's chokehold on the ad revenue market. For more, follow me on X at Chuck Palm.
Midweek sports on America in the Morning. Here's Robert Workman.
Baseball Tuesday, the Brewers routed the Pirates 14-0 for their 11th win in a row, pounding out 15 hits, 5 of them homers, while Freddie Peralta and the Dreamers allowed just 4 hits. Mets bombed the Braves 13-5, 2 taters for Pete Alonso. That gives him 254 for his career and moves him past Darryl Strawberry in Mets history.
Realm of the possibility to be a franchise home run leader, to have that opportunity, you really don't think about it. And I mean, it's a wild dream, to be honest, and it's really special.
Francisco Alvarez also launched a pair, 6 New York homers in all. Mariners shut out the Orioles 1-0 for their 8th straight win. George Kirby and the Durwoods with a 5-hitter. Seattle now tied with Houston for the AL West lead. The Red Sox romped over the Astros 14-1. Alex Bregman went deep against his old team for a 2nd straight night. There's a tie at the top of the NL West as well this morning. The Angels trimmed the Dodgers 7-6 in 10 innings. Shohei Ohtani's 43rd homer gave Big Blue the lead in the 9th, but the Halos scratched out runs in the 9th and 10th to pull it out. Meantime, the Padres topped the Giants 5-1 to pull even with the Dodgers with 42 games to play. Elsewhere, the Rockies blanked the Cardinals 3-0 to snap an 8-game losing streak. A combo 6-hitter for Kyle Freeland and Victor Vodnik. A's flayed the Rays 6-0 behind the 4-hit pitching of Jacob Lopez and company. Blue Jays beat the Cubs 5-1 to become the first American League team to reach 70 wins. Jose Ramirez left the yard twice to lead the Guardians past the Marlins 4-3. That's his 27th career multi-homer game for Cleveland, moving him ahead of Albert Bell and Hall of Famer Jim Thome for the franchise record. Yankees thumped the Twins 9-1, hitting 3 dingers, including number 38 for Aaron Judge, his first since coming off the injured list. Wins for the Diamondbacks, Royals, White Sox, and Reds. That's Wednesday Sports.
When we return, football players alleged gambling and Swifties unite. America in the Morning, back after these messages. Danielle Spencer, who played the wisecracking and tattling little sister Dee Thomas in the 1970s sitcom What's Happening, has died. Spencer, who left Hollywood and became a veterinarian later in life, died at a hospital in Richmond, Virginia, after a years-long battle with cancer. Spencer also appeared in a mid-1980s reboot of the show What's Happening Now, which ran for 3 seasons. After becoming a doctor, Spencer still dabbled in acting, including an appearance playing a veterinarian in the 1997 Jack Nicholson film As Good as It Gets. Spencer was 60 years old. A college football quarterback is defending himself against allegations of sports gambling. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer denies allegations of sports gambling after a report showed he made Venmo payments labeled for, quote, sports gambling, end quote, in 2022. Mateer was at Washington State at the time. He said Tuesday these were inside jokes with friends and not actual bets. He assured his teammates, coaches, and the NCAA that he has never gambled on sports. Oklahoma confirmed there is no NCAA investigation and states they use a program to monitor gambling activities. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Swifties rejoice for more T-Swizzle. Taylor Swift releasing a new album. Here's entertainment reporter Kevin Carr.
If you're a fan of Taylor Swift, this is going to be a great week for you. If you've had enough of the mega pop star, well, you might just want to go back to bed. The internet caught on fire Monday when Swift's main squeeze, Travis Kelce, and his brother Jason posted on Instagram that they would have a, quote, very special guest on their upcoming episode of the New Heights podcast. Then, shortly after midnight, they dropped a teaser video.
So I wanted to show you something. We got
a briefcase.
Yep.
Mint green with TS on it.
Yep.
What's in it?
This is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
On Tuesday morning at 12:12 a.m., Swift announced via her website her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. Fans can pre-order the vinyl for $29.99 while supplies last. While no official release date is given, her site says it will ship by October 13th. Additional Swift-related posts eked out on the New Heights Instagram page, including a tongue-in-cheek work or school excuse for those who are too excited on Wednesday, as well as some playful banter between Travis and Taylor.
Such a nice color on you.
Yes, I know. It's the color of your eyes, sweetie. That's why we match so well.
Swiftie buzz has been off the charts online with anticipation from her diehard fans. Even unofficial Life of a Showgirl merchandise has cropped up all over do-it-yourself sites like Etsy. Taylor Swift will appear on the Kelce Brothers New Heights podcast, which drops tonight at 7 p.m. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.